Hey there, Bear Club! At the Mama Bear Initiative, we explore how to protect ourselves so we can protect our cubs, the people who depend on us. Join us and get the confidence you need to stay safe, make good choices, and protect yourself and those you care about. Let's go!
Hello, and welcome to the Mama Bear Initiative podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
We'd like to thank you to this particular episode. We were doing our business meeting on Saturday, was it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
And we were like, what are we going to talk about next?
Yeah.
And I think we originally wanted to start with or do a video we saw on, I think I saw it on Facebook and shared it with you guys.
Yeah, you shared it.
Of a woman who was in the gym doing some kind of squat with a ball. And these two young dudes walked in, and one walked by her, pointed at her butt, said something, and then when she was squatted down, he got underneath of her with his hands on her butt and helped her.
Right?
It was like helped. Helped himself, more like.
Yeah, and she turned around and went bam, 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 and he fell. I couldn't find that video on YouTube or anything to like. I mean, we could kind of talk about it, but people are saying it's fake. I think we mentioned this in one of our recent episodes. People are saying it's fake or whatever. And you know what? I'm like, I don't care if it's fake. It tells a story.
Yeah.
A story we want you to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
So we decided instead, since we can't really like link anything to that specific video because we can't find it.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of an old video. We decided to talk about a story related of a woman who was in a gym in Florida. I think it was for her apartments late at night. And she let this guy in she had seen there before who decided to, do bad things. I don't know how much we can say.
Right.
But he attacked her and she fought back and fought him off. So we kind of wanted to break it down.
And got away from him, which is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So we made our notes. We're ready to talk about it and, to kind of give you our thoughts on the whole thing, like mainly where she went right. I can't think of anything. We were talking a little bit before we got started. I had made a note about, I'm not sure why she didn't immediately run out of the room when she had the chance. Evelyn made the point, maybe she forgot the door was there.
Yeah.
And that whole idea of when you're in the moment, you're not going to do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Right.
And the adrenaline's pumping and you're just, you're in a sort of I guess in that case, a fight, not flight, but fight situation. And she fought back.
She was totally in fight. She got in fight mode and stayed in fight mode.
Yeah.
Which is something we're going to get into.
So, like as a self-defense and martial arts instructor, I often say, I'm going to teach you to do it this way. If you do it wrong or badly, I don't care as long as you get away.
Right.
Yeah. So, and it's easy for us to look at a situation like that, in the comfort of our home, sipping your tea,
coffee, or a ginger ale in my case.
She should have just done this and done that, and it's like, but what would you have done?
Right.
Let's
you don't
be
know
real
until
here.
you know.
Nobody knows for sure what they would do in a situation. Although I will say that if you do train in martial arts, that does set you up for being more in fight mode and less in freeze mode.
Yes.
I think there's probably some percentage of all those things going on in the moment when you're having a situation going on around you. But we want to be less in freeze and more in fight.
Yeah.
If we can help it.
Right.
Yeah, because there's going to be that automatic response, whatever it is. But if you can transition quickly into fight mode because you've practiced going into fight mode when you weren't in the situation.
Right. So we'll put a link to this specific video in our description so you can go see the video for yourself and know what we're talking about. So I recommend you watch it first.
Yeah. And then you can weigh in with comments. Whatever things that maybe you noticed that we didn't.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your perspective because, we're not the be all and end all with this.
We're smart ladies, but we don't know everything.
No.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So we wanted to start with something that's really important to us, which has to do with our very first episode. This thing we always say at the very beginning of brand new training with people we don't know.
Yeah.
Which is about your self-worth. And in this case, and the shorter video of the woman in the gym squatting, no one gets to touch you without your permission.
Right.
That's right.
Which we also have another video about, another episode about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's break it down.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Who wants to talk first?
I guess I will.
Okay.
I really like the fact that maybe she was afraid, but she never showed it. She never showed her fear. She just immediately started to fight back.
Now, did we want to talk about like what happened or in more detail?
Well,
or
I think we want to talk about. Yeah, no, definitely. But the list has us. The first thing is you get to decide who touches you.
Yeah.
Are you looking at our list, the same list, Rochelle?
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't looking up high enough, though. My apologies.
But your point was good, though. We will get to that.
Definitely.
But yeah, she didn't let him touch her. She immediately took control of the situation.
Right. But let's talk about the idea that you get to decide who touches you. So we're going to talk about this concept of self-worth.
Yeah.
That's really important for people to establish immediately when you're learning any sort of self-defense or martial arts training, is that you have value, that you get to decide who touches you.
Yeah.
And, you get to decide how close is too close for you specifically.
Right.
It's up to you.
Yeah. And it's not just, who touches you, but when and how.
Right.
And if that any of that's being violated, you need, you have the right and the power to stand up and say no. And, I wish I'd have known that years ago.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
There were times in my childhood that weren't related to the other stuff that went on, but like there's a boy who went to school with me. He would like come up behind me and like put his arms around me from the back and touch me, in different ways. And I didn't have it in me to tell him no.
Did you like freeze up? Like this
Absolutely.
is happening? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I had a similar situation. This boy was touching me. I knew he shouldn't be, but he was also much older than me and bigger than me. And I just sat there and took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, ladies, men,
we're looking at you.
If you are being touched by someone and you don't like it, you can tell them to stop.
Yes, you can tell them to stop. That is very important. When I was in high school, there was a girl who I was actually kind of friends with, and for some reason, she started poking me during choir practice repeatedly, and it happened over a few classes, and I finally just got mad and said, stop poking me, because it hurt, for one thing. It was right in my ribs, and it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And she finally stopped, but it was so strange to me that she thought it was okay to do that. She never asked me for permission or anything like that. I don't know where it came from or why she thought it was okay to do that.
Weird.
Yeah. Very weird.
Why didn't I know about this? I was going to come over there and beat that girl.
Right? The big sister. But you stood up for yourself, though.
Hey,
so.
I did.
Yeah, good job. Good job, Rochelle. All right. So, one of the things she said that we really liked was, in my mind, I knew I was stronger than him and that I could fight back. Now, she was in there working out. So, from her physique, it looks like she's fairly strong, which probably contributed to her feelings of confidence.
Right.
That is not to say that you can't be confident if you're not working out in the gym.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. But because she had developed a certain amount of strength, that probably helped her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the idea of may not be necessarily physically stronger, but that idea of I can outlast this person.
Right.
She was definitely very physically strong. In fact, if you look at the end of the video, you'll see her like an up close picture of her. She's kind of posing. You're like, yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with her. And she's not like huge or anything, but you can tell she's muscled.
Yeah. But the other side of that coin is you can also work out at the gym and not know how to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You could have no knowledge of how to even stop someone from hurting you or touching you. So she obviously has some kind of training, self-defense training, maybe martial arts. It's hard to tell, but she definitely knew what to do.
I didn't get that from the video,
really,
to be honest with you. I know, because the way she was hitting him, it wasn't very refined. It was just hitting him.
Yeah, It was more, she was just moving. I think that that survival instinct, and if you guys want to go back and listen to our interview with Clive, he talks about that, how everyone has that in them. And it's a matter of, we talked about the freeze, right? Or fawn or whatever, that thing that might be getting in the way of that survival instinct coming through. I think she just really, that survival instinct took over and she went with it and she kept going after him.
She definitely knew what to do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, even if she didn't know what to do, the instinct just kind of took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to know because she didn't really say whether or not she had prior training.
Right. Yeah.
Or she knew how to throw a punch. I mean, laying on your back with someone on top of you and trying to hit them is not easy to do.
True.
Yeah. And what I saw her doing was she never just laid there. She continuously moved. She was kicking him. I'm using my hands. But she also had him in a chokehold. She was kicking him. She was scooting around. I mean,
if I didn't know better, I would think she might know a little BJJ with the way she was moving.
If not,
she might.
Yeah.
I mean, she could. They didn't really talk about that though.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter, to be honest.
Either way.
What matters is that she had the instinct to protect.
Yes.
And she was determined to do it, and she took action immediately. That's what matters.
Right.
And she kept going. There was no point where she just froze. It was continuous motion.
And touching back on her, knowing her worth and how to protect herself. I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, even right at the start, like she was immediately like, what do you think you're doing? Like, how dare you?
Right.
Which we need to have that and really cultivate that. She was like, no, you will not do this to me.
Right.
And it wasn't just words. Then she followed through, Yeah. It's very inspiring. I mean, I kept watching it. I was taking notes, I was like, be like her,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I appreciate that she spoke up and encourages women to have the same mentality, to learn self-defense, to, we don't all have to be warriors. We don't have to be martial artists. We don't all have to be into fighting. You don't have to be into fighting to learn how to fight.
That's right.
You can just learn some basic movements and some concepts that will help you
Yeah.
when you need it, so that you can do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
That's good stuff.
It can
That's a
be
good takeaway.
can be a weekend class, a seminar, simple movements. It doesn't matter as long as if you learn something and it helps you. That's what's important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So our next section is how she fought back. I think we're going to spend the most amount of time on this because there's several things that happened,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and you know, there was a self-defense expert that's in Krav Maga that said some things we may or may not have time for. If we don't get to talk about it, I can put it in the notes, so you can with the video, because you want to, read it, hear about it, maybe do something.
Right.
What? Take action?
Maybe?
Take
What?
action
Something?
like she did?
What?
Had a little Kevin McAllister moment there.
Just don't yell, please, or scream.
Let's all do it at the same time. That'll be our screenshot.
I was gonna say that'll totally be our screenshot.
I'll make a title card off of that.
Oh my!
Oh, we're just a little silly around here.
You want to have some self-defense training? All right. So, it seemed like the first thing that we noticed was she never turned her back to him.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he came right up to her, and he wasn't even talking to her. She just immediately turned and faced him.
Yeah.
And I think the only time she turned her back to him was when she was running away from him. But it seemed like she would turn around. She was always aware of where he was in relation to her. Yeah.
And she was like running around the room.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Trying to keep some distance. And the attacker was weird. He walked in like this.
Yeah.
Or something like this, just sort of casually.
Mm-hmm.
And like came at her like with his hands, and like it was weird.
Can we just talk about for a second the audacity of that guy? Like, how dare he?
Rochelle, please take it. Talk about it
and take it further.
I mean, it terrifies, and it makes me angry at the same time that people have that kind of audacity to just walk in and just try to do something like that. I don't understand the mentality behind that at all. It's so scary to think that can happen, so unexpected, and it seems worse nowadays than it used to be. But thank God she knew what to do and fought him off. I'm so thankful for that for her.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about it, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting angry over here. I mean, my background, I know I've mentioned it in past podcast episodes, but just being squashed for so long and putting up with so much, going along to get along, being nice, going along with whatever's happening. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, no, I'm not taking that from anybody. And, you know, you're talking about the audacity. I'm like,
maybe we should all make the audacity, how dare you face. Rochelle's too cute to do that.
She's like a little bunny, you know.
She's cute.
Thanks.
She's too cute.
You're too cute. We'll have to compensate, Steph. Unleash the lioness.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
I
love being able, excuse me. You know, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to be angry. Like, I would get in trouble if I got angry with my parents or whatever. So I thought anger was bad. But to be able to feel that no one will, it's like it's like a purifying kind of fire. It's not a destructive kind, but it's a kind that can be harnessed and like that woman did, just, you know, use it to push back and to fight back and to not quit.
I love it. Which brings us to our second point. She continued to fight him off. She kept fighting. She never gave up. She kept going till he let go.
Till he let go. And I love that moment. I mean, you know, you're watching her and she's doing all this. She's like wailing on the
Pounding
dude.
him in the head.
Punching. Finally, it's like, he was like, I don't want to mess with this anymore.
Suddenly didn't seem worth it anymore for him to keep trying, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she was... See, here's something that we've learned, and I'm not sure who all mentioned it, Clive and others, but people don't want somebody who's going to fight them.
Right.
And fight them effectively. You know, it's one thing to tire yourself out just kind of doing this, but I mean, they want somebody who's going to be passive, who is going to freeze up, who's going to give up so that they can have their way. And I think he finally got the message after, you know, laps around the gym and him getting her on the floor and her just wailing into him that she's not going to give up.
No.
And it's not worth it. To get them to the point where they're like, it's not worth it. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which goes back to knowing what you're worth.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you feel like you want to protect what God gave you,
yes,
you will keep fighting. You will not give up until either they're gone or you're dead.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate to say it that way, but that's really your choices.
Yeah.
In that situation.
And being able to, you know, wherever you're coming from, because I came from basically ground zero, just lay there and take it. You can, it's okay to start there, but to start to stoke that fire, start to understand, accept, and understand your self-worth.
Yeah.
I am worth protecting.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And then really letting that, you know, when you're not in this situation,
right?
You know, she had it ready. It was go time. It was almost like, I've been training for this.
Right.
So that, you know, we can do that. We can have that fire, have it ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the next thing on our list is the idea that she got away as soon as she was able to get away. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier about, well, why didn't she immediately run out the door when she could? But there may have been some mental blocking with some form of freezing going on where you're just not thinking.
Right? Yeah. Plus, I was thinking, if he was still in active attack mode, then now they're outside and she still has to deal with him.
That's true. That's a good
point
of, yeah.
She fought him until he gave up. So
that may have been her only option for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't really know. I mean,
it's hard to say,
but I'm kind of glad that she didn't, for the sake of it all being caught on camera.
True. True. Although just the fact that he started something may have been enough for him to get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but that there is all of that evidence in her favor.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, he did go on. They captured him the next day. He pled not guilty. It's like, dude,
there's security footage of you attacking her.
Well, I listened to a lawyer once about this whole not guilty thing. Talk about it, because if you plead guilty at arraignment, that the judges don't actually like that, because it puts them in the position to having to sentence you without any evidence.
Oh, okay.
So most people plead not guilty at that point, even though they probably are, and they know they are.
Yeah.
For those reasons, so that they can actually go through, have evidence and trial and all that, plea deals, whatever is going to happen. Although, it's logical, but at the same time, you're kind of like, dude, you're on camera.
Right.
It just felt a little, I felt a little bit of the audacity in that too, but I also understand legally. Interestingly enough, his lawyers weren't available for comment.
Shocking.
Like, what are they going to say?
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to say? Like,
right.
Obviously, they know he was guilty. How are they going to get him out of that one?
Yeah. Another thing that she did before we talk about okay, let's talk about the 911 thing because
Oh yeah, yeah.
she was underneath of him.
Mm-hmm.
He was on top of her. She was trying to fight him off. She was also reaching over trying to dial 911 on her phone
Yeah.
while he was on top of her.
Yeah.
But she couldn't handle, I guess, him and do that at the same time.
Right.
However, I would like to point out, now I don't know if this was true at the time this happened, but I have accidentally
Yes, as have I.
called 911
Yeah.
multiple times because the phone is set up for me to hit the power or the home power button
Mhm.
multiple times in a row to
Yep.
call 911. If you're in a situation, if you have, figure out what your cell phone can do
Mhm.
Yeah.
so that if you are grappling with someone, you do have your phone in your hand. By the way, your phone is a weapon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Smash it in their face,
Blunt force.
whatever. If you have it in your hand and you're trying to grapple with someone like she was and just hit the button
Yeah.
multiple times in a row, you don't have to dial 911.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point that out.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
and that's good to keep in mind and remember.
And
You
even
know?
I'd like to also point out, even a phone that doesn't work can still dial 911, even if it doesn't have a SIM card or it's turned off. You can still use it to make an emergency call. So
Yeah.
that's still useful to have.
Yeah. But the thing is that's interesting is a lot of times women who are SA'd, I don't want to say,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people will
not
know.
that we're monetized or anything. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at this point,
However,
anyway.
not at this point. However, just to keep it, on the down low,
Mhm.
a lot of times women will not report it.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a whole shame element.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think even denial, like if I can just somehow forget this, somehow move on.
And a lot of times people tell people just forget about it, move on. I don't
Yeah.
understand that. I don't understand it.
That's so unhealthy because it's gonna come back. It's gonna come
Yeah.
back, and you're letting somebody get away with it. There
Yes.
again at that righteous indignation that
They may attack someone else.
yeah.
And probably worse, because it would build on itself. If someone wants to hurt someone, if they get away with it, they're going to try to do it worse the next time, probably.
Yeah.
And it goes back to your self-worth. You are, even if you've been SA'd, you are worth going to the police, going to the hospital, getting
Right.
whatever needs to be done to catch that person.
Right.
Yeah. I think settling it in advance.
Yeah.
Taking the time, think it through. This is
Think
what
it
I'm going to
through.
do, so that God forbid you ever need it. I mean, hopefully you won't need it,
Right.
but the decision will have already been made,
Right.
Yes.
and you can go back to that. That's a solid place to go and say, well, I'm going to do this. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do this.
And if you're listening to this or anything else like this and you're going, self-worth?
Mm.
Do I have self-worth? If you don't feel like you do, go get some therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Go get some therapy and figure out why you don't feel that way.
Yeah.
It's worth doing for a lot of different reasons. I'm in therapy,
Yeah.
I'm in
That's
therapy.
Yep.
We all are. Yeah.
and part of
Yes.
my recovery has been figuring out what I'm worth so that I will do what this girl has done.
Yes.
So please also, should you ever experience an attack,
Mhm.
tell the police right away.
Immediately.
Go to the
yes.
hospital right
Right away.
away. Don't hesitate.
Mhm.
Don't question it. Don't listen to anybody telling you not to. Just
Mhm.
do it.
Because there is a very small window of opportunity to get the DNA, whatever else necessary they need to find the person who assaulted you.
Right.
Exactly.
And the quicker you get in there, the quicker they can get after the guy
Yes.
or the gal.
And then the quicker you can get
Absolutely.
your own care.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think even making a plan, it's up to you how detailed you want it to be, but even having somebody, an agreement with a close friend to say, I might not be able to drive myself. Would you be available to drive me? And
Yes.
maybe
Yeah.
even do that for each other,
Yeah.
so that it's already, the conversation was already had. You might even have a key word or something,
Yeah. Good idea.
that both
Yeah.
of you know, and
Yeah.
and you say that word, and then she goes, all right, I'm on my way.
Yeah. So another thing she did was she put something between, she kept moving around
Mhm.
and kept things between herself and her attacker, like some of the gym equipment,
Yeah.
which is a really, really great tactic. If you can keep something between you and someone else, if they're coming after you, that's a way to stay safe.
Yes. It
And it
is.
creates some important distance.
Yep.
And you can widen that distance by doing that. So
Yeah.
that definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. So, I feel as a mama bear very proud of this woman. I know this is
Oh,
months
yes.
later. I feel very proud of her.
Yes.
She did
Definitely.
exactly what I want women to do,
Mm-hmm.
and took care of herself, fought back,
Yeah.
did all the right things. She ran out the door. She went to get help. She called the police.
Mm-hmm.
She fought him off. She didn't give up. Those are all wonderful things, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And this should not be an anomaly. This should be normal. It should be
Exactly.
normal for you to fight back, to think
Mm-hmm.
and believe that you are worth fighting back for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should look at that and just be able to picture yourself doing that,
Mhm.
and let that sink in. Let that be, part of the strength that you're developing inside. And I
Yes.
liked what she did afterwards as well. I mean, she didn't just go home and was silent about it.
Right.
Right.
She actively encourages other women. She encourages them to stand up for themselves. I love the whole idea of, if I can do it, so can you.
Right.
And it really doesn't matter. I mean, we're sitting here, middle-aged women, right? And we're not nearly as buff as she is and whatever. However,
Speak for yourself.
all right, Steph has got some serious muscles, and I will tell you, in the dojo, you know the term freight train? Yeah. Anyway,
It applies.
oh man alive. But all right, but even if you weren't like Steph, you can, we can always better ourselves. We can always continue, if you're not as strong as you want to be, you can do something about that.
That's
if
right.
if you don't have as much, we're talking about the stoking that fire, and you might be thinking, I don't really have that in me. I don't even know what that looks like. That's okay. You can start. You can start.
You
today.
can ignite that fire.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I am the least likely person to want to learn to fight, and yet I have. And I know that if I had to, I could protect myself. And
Mhm.
I was
That's
afraid
right.
of it for the longest time, even after joining a martial art and taking self-defense. But if I can do it, you can do it. They all
Mhm.
said I was
Yes.
cute. Yes, I'm cute, but I can kick some butt if I have to.
Yeah. It's been fairly recent, but that warrior in Rochelle has started to be like, she'll get that look in her eyes, and I'll be like, oh no. I kind of liked, the more passive Rochelle when it comes to sparring, but then it's just more fun because she's, she's packing the punch literally,
Yeah.
So
It's all physics and geometry.
Yep,
it is.
it is.
And the element of surprise, which I believe is on this periodic table somewhere.
Science and math.
And
That's what we're doing when we're learning to fight.
And as another way of encouragement, if you want to take a martial arts, a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with strength. As Stephanie was saying, it's all about physics and geometry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need much strength to learn how to defend yourself or fight someone off.
Exploiting the angles,
Mm-hmm.
Knowing which direction to do things.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of things that you just need to learn from someone who knows what they're doing, and practice it and just try it.
Yeah.
Try it
I
out.
think one of the cool things is, learning, because we're probably not going to overpower a 6'2" dude, for example, who's
I will
muscled
not
out.
outlast a big dude in a fist fight for sure.
Let's just face it. However, every body has weak areas.
That's right.
That's true.
So being able to exploit those weak areas
That'll be in our notes because we don't have time to
That'll
talk
be in our
about it.
notes. Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
feel like we could talk all night, but it's getting late. How?
But when you brought up the thing that the Krav Maga instructor said,
Mm-hmm.
sing,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be in the notes. I immediately remembered that movie with oh gosh, what's her name? Sandra Bullock, Miss Congeniality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When she was supposed to do some like water glass thing and
Yeah.
Yes,
she
yes.
couldn't figure it out. She's like, screw that. And she went up there and taught everybody how to fight, and she used SING as her acronym.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, you never know what you might learn just watching a movie. You
Movies.
know?
It's real in the movies, must be real in real life.
Sometimes there's a crossover.
Yes.
True. All right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything we wanted to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So we went over a video we've seen of a woman who defended herself in a gym in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the idea no one gets to touch you without your permission. It's up to you to
Right.
decide. We talked about her seemingly sense of self-worth that she used to fight back.
Yes.
We talked
Mhm.
about how she fought back. She kept going. She didn't give up. She didn't turn her back to him. She got away as soon as she could. She called 911. She kept something between herself and the attacker.
Yep.
She ran out the door into a nearby apartment for safety, which is a really good thing to do. Always go back inside. If you're not sure,
Mm-hmm.
if you're out and you feel something's off, go back inside. Just go
Yeah.
back. Don't question yourself.
Just go
do
with
it.
it.
Just
Just
do
go
it.
with it.
Yeah.
Because what do
So-
we say?
It's better to be
Safe
safe
and
and
wrong.
wrong.
No, wait.
No,
It's
wait.
better to be wrong,
Wrong
and
and
safe than to be right,
Right.
and
And
hurt
or
worse.
You can tell we haven't said it in a while, but it is something. It's a principle we keep going back to.
Yes.
I think
right.
we should have it written down somewhere.
Probably tattoo it right here.
No.
Well,
That's all you, sis. That's
I'm
all
not.
you.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the face tattoos. Not at
yeah,
this point in my life.
I don't have any interest in that either. No face tattoos for me. Thank you.
I'm glad we clarified that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for us tonight. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, to hear what we have to say.
Yes.
If you find value in this, please share it with somebody you think could benefit from hearing this kind of talk.
Yeah.
Leave us some comments, some reactions.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, please do. And we have many other episodes, mostly audio, but we have some video ones since we've been starting videos. So please go and find those and listen to them. Tell us what you think.
Yeah. And learn something, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'd like to thank you for joining us on this podcast episode. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
Have a great night
Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
or have a great day.
Hey. Depending on when you're listening to
Morning.
this.
Yeah.
Enjoy your coffee, whatever. Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us as we discussed such an important topic. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you later, Bear Club.